News of the day. It's Saturday, so in between periods, in between Vegas and St. Louis, here I am to do a News of the Day video. Getting my videos done in between. And after this Vegas game is done, I will be reviewing the first 5 games of the day. There's 7 games tonight. Then there's the power rankings, and then there's a preview of tomorrow's 6-game schedule. So that'll be kind of fun. All right. Grabner's a healthy scratch tonight for Arizona. That's 3 games in a row. It's one of those things that stands out to me. When a guy like Grabner, who's known as being streaky and he might be able to throw some goals, maybe Arizona at some point looks at a potential move. Hjalmarsson's been seen in practice in a non-contact jersey. He's not back yet, but maybe soon, right? So we'll see what happens and whether or not Arizona makes more moves or if Taylor Hall is basically that move and then everything else just stays as it is. Brent Kulak was seen wearing 77 for the Montreal Canadiens at practice, so 17 will go to Kovalchuk. Kovalchuk's not playing tonight. He should be in their next game. And, yeah, we'll see how things go for Montreal. I think people are reading too much, though, into the Kovalchuk signing on some level. Kovalchuk's getting league minimum. It's a 2-way contract, meaning they can send him to the minors and pay him $70,000 or at a $70,000 rate for the rest of the year if he doesn't work out. So there's literally zero risk for the Montreal Canadiens on this. And everything to potentially gain for both Kovalchuk and for Montreal. Worst case scenario, he doesn't work out and he ends up in the minors. No harm, no foul. So for Montreal, we'll see how things turn out. Samsonov. So this is kind of the talk amongst Capital fans, and I figure I'll go ahead and dive into this. Ilya Samsonov is 8-0 on the road so far this year. And Kuznetsov kind of went off about the fact that the media is not talking about it. They're not talking about how well he's playing. And then he talks about how everybody talked about Carter Hart and talked up Carter Hart in Philly. Carter Hart is see, to me, it's a bit of a different situation. Carter Hart's kind of seen as the potential savior for Philadelphia's goaltending situation, which has been a disaster for many years. Samsonov is seen as the backup to Holtby in a very stable Washington Capitals organization. The Flyers are seen as a middle-of-the-road team, may or may not make the playoffs, didn't make them last year. The Capitals are seen as the best team in the National Hockey League. For the most part, you can argue the Blues. You might be able to argue the Penguins right now, and some would argue the Bruins, but those are people who don't watch the hockey games and really didn't watch today. But I understand where Kuznetsov's coming from, but when he says that it's because he's North American, I don't necessarily agree. I am wearing an Ovechkin jersey for that very reason. I understand that people criticized Ovechkin. That's because Ovechkin was, at the start of his career, kind of a selfish player. And he was not a guy who passed the puck often, if at all. And I don't necessarily agree that North American players necessarily get treated better than European players. I understand where that's coming from. I understand where Kuznetsov's coming from. But I try really hard not to do that on this channel as well. So I get the Carter Hart hype, and I've definitely been on that train as well. Samsonov is going to be the guy in Washington. Is he there now? No, but I would say this. The Capitals, it's interesting because Holtby's the goaltender going to the All-Star game, and I don't think he's been one of the best goalies in the division, nor do I think he's been the best goaltender on his team. I think Samsonov legit has been the better goaltender of the two so far this season. But again, I've mentioned this when it comes to All-Stars nominations and namings. A lot of the times its reputation is trying to get big names out there, which is odd because the NHL's been criticized for years for not promoting its stars enough. So I don't know. There's a story in there somewhere, right? Andre Kasha has a bone bruise. Since it's a lower body injury that they're calling it, it's either his leg or his foot. They're not clarifying, just that it's a bone bruise, so that could keep him out for a while, depending on where it is and that kind of thing. And Raquel, they're still not saying what's going on with Raquel. It's assumed he's probably not playing tomorrow. But who knows? The Anaheim Ducks not telling us much of anything. But they're really kind of in the tank right now. And honestly, from here on for the rest of the year, I don't know that the Ducks have much of a chance. They just don't have the offense. It's just not there. And Getzlaf's gone ice cold, and everything's just right in the tank for them. Okay, the World Junior Championships tomorrow. The Canadians will play the Russians for gold, which is unusual in that that's what everybody would have expected for many, many years. And now these guys are in the finals, and it's kind of a surprise. It was supposed to be the Americans and the Finns to some level. So Canada beats Finland 5-0. The Russians beat the Swedes 5-4 in overtime. And so Sweden will play Finland for bronze. So for Finland, they just miss out on defending their gold medal. And for Sweden, again, it's a situation where they win a lot in round robin, and then when it comes to the medal round, this is the second year where, yeah, we'll see what ends up happening in the bronze medal game. But has to be disappointing for Sweden when they're so good during the round robin. And so you would expect maybe better results for them, better luck for them when it's the loss in overtime in this situation. There's a little bit of luck that gets in there as well. But, yeah, we'll see how Canada does against the Russians. And it's interesting because it continues kind of a tradition for Canada. And if you followed the Canadians at the World Juniors long enough, you'll know this tends to be true. There have been Canadian teams that were ballyhooed as being this great, fantastic, these guys are going to be great, and they're out. And then teams that people look at and go, well, this Canadian team sucks. This Canadian team isn't going to win. And then they win the gold medal. So we really don't know before the tournament starts who's going to win. I took the Americans. Yeah, they're not even in the top four. And noteworthy in the relegation round, Kazakhstan and Germany. It's a best of three, and right now I believe they both have one win. So game 3 will decide whether Kazakhstan or Germany are kept in the tournament for next year. So yeah, Canada playing Russia. And again, not a big surprise for people who've watched this tournament for a long time, but this year it is kind of a surprise. And last news item, the All-Star game coming up with Marc-Andre Fleury backing out and Jacob Markstrom taking his place, and rumors that maybe Gerard Gallant didn't necessarily want to be coached at the All-Star game either. He's looking forward to a weekend off. Question is, who's next? And then the other question I have is this. If the players don't care, or the players don't go and they don't really want to go, how do you drum up interest for fans to watch it? This is a serious, and I know, we talk about this all the time, but this is a serious situation where players are, Dylan Larkin, I don't want to go. I don't want to go. Don't vote for me. What in the world is going on here that we have players actively campaigning against going, stepping out of it, coaches saying, I don't really want to go and do that. The NHL has a problem with the All-Star game, and I think we're at the point where they need to just take it out. You can leave the break in. I think players love that break, but do something else. And again, I've talked about the skills competition being fantastic. You can leave that in there and do something with skills. Do something fun and something where players are more likely to go and say, yeah, all right, well, I was looking forward to a weekend off, but all I have to do is go and take part in the hardest shot. All I have to do is go and take part in speed skating. I can do that. So maybe it's something like that, and these guys want a break, and I don't necessarily blame them, and I'm sure for coaches, they want to take that break as well. And we'll see if the NHL makes changes. Something has to give. The 3-on-3 tournament was supposed to make everything better. Clearly, that's not working, and there are players coming out and saying, oh, it's an honor to go, but I do wonder how much of an honor it is when a lot of veterans are going, and I'm wondering how many players privately are thinking, Ovechkin's got the right idea. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Fixing the All-Star game. And maybe there'll be a video at some point on that where I talk about how we can fix the All-Star game and maybe a way to make it that players will want to come out and show up. Something like that. Let me know your thoughts. Hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for all your support. It means a ton. And again, we will be doing a review of the early games, then a review of the late games, then the power rankings, and then a preview of tomorrow before I turn in tonight or pass out, one or the other. Thank you guys so much. I will talk to you again soon.